745, 15 8 on your hometown radio station, Keens News Station, AM 1290, FM 94.1, and WKBKRadio.com. As promised, joining us on the phone line this morning, I know many of you had a chance to see her up close and personal yesterday as she was over at Tempestas yesterday afternoon. Former South Carolina governor and ambassador to the United Nations and Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is with us on the line. Governor, glad to have you join us on the program. Good morning.
It's great to be with you. It's a great day in New Hampshire.
It sure is. Also joining us on the program, your friend and mine, Governor Chris Sununu, is with us as well. Governor, thanks for joining us on the program.
You bet. Good morning, Dan.
Nikki beat you to it, though. She called in a minute ahead of you.
I tell you, when you're dealing with Nikki Haley, she's always 2 steps ahead. That's just it. That's what you want in a president.
I did want to ask you, though, because obviously you guys have been spending some time with one another here in Keene and over at McIntyre Ski Area where the governor gave you his endorsement. But I'm curious, if you're in the car and you're driving together, who gets to pick the radio station or the playlist for the music? Who's in charge of that?
The future president of the United States. I think it's pretty clear. By the way, Nikki has one of the best playlists around, and if you haven't, can you download that, Nikki? Can people get your playlist? Because it's pretty awesome.
I mean, they could. We've had a lot of people ask for it. We'll decide. We'll figure it out.
That's great.
I covet my playlist, Chris, because if I give my playlist out, then people may not come to the town hall. So I need them to come to the town hall, and then.
The governors of the state of New Hampshire, past governor of South Carolina, joining us on the program. Governor Sununu, when did you make the decision to endorse Ambassador Haley, and what pushed her over the top for you?
Yeah, it was after Thanksgiving, in the past week or so, I really kind of came to the conclusion. We talked a week ago, Friday. So about a week ago, I gave her a call and I said, I'm all in. And look, I'm unlike other folks. I've really spent time with all the different candidates, more than almost anybody in the country probably. I spent a lot of time on the road with Chris and Ron and Nikki, and they're all great governors and everything and good candidacies. But every single time I was out there with Ambassador Haley, it was different. There was a connection there that she was making with crowds, and it wasn't because of what she was saying or just where she was on policy. I mean, we align on most of that anyway. That's easy. It's really about the personal connections I was watching her make across the state, town to town, not just in Manchester or in Portsmouth or whatever it was, but spending time in the Monadnock region, spending time up north or in Coos or in Grafton, and allowing folks to really ask her questions. And she listens. And what I was seeing time after time, there was a real connection of trust. And as you know, Dan, that's what I'm all about. Who's going to be transparent? Who's making that trusted connection? And I thought, holy cow, if someone can bring that mentality down to the White House, what a phenomenal change we will have in this country, just unifying things. And it isn't just, again, she's just going to agree with my policies and what we want here in New Hampshire. There's already a lot of that. It's really kind of understanding that the individual, the local governments, that's the opportunity that the federal government has to get back to understanding needs to be created. And when you do that, it becomes incredibly unifying for the party, of course. I need to get this party unified, but then most importantly for the entire country as you move forward. So at the end of the day, it was a hard decision 3 months ago. It was not a hard decision the more time I spent with Nikki Haley. Anyone who spends some time with her kind of gets, I don't want to say wooed, but really I think impressed and excited about what can come out of Washington.
Ambassador Haley being there or here in Keene last night, and you've been on the campaign trail for quite a while now. What was the sense coming back to you from the crowd and the audience? And I know you have a chance to take some questions and talk with people afterwards and the like. Were you getting the sense that they're all in? Were you getting the sense from some that you really still have a lot of convincing to do? What are you starting to feel when you're doing these town hall type meetings?
Well, we had already felt the momentum building, and then we've had a good couple of weeks. Last week, we had the most conservative, freedom-loving grassroots organization in the country, Americans for Prosperity, endorse us. And then this week, we had the Live Free or Die governor endorse us. So, I don't know that it gets better than that. But what I can tell you is the energy. We had hundreds of people show up. The energy was amazing. That crowd loves Chris Sununu. They love him. I mean, he's their governor. They trust him. They believe in him. And they know that when he says something, they can take it to the bank. And so, what we saw is there definitely is a connection. We are winning rooms. Without question, we are winning rooms. People are coming up to us telling us they've never voted before, or this is going to be the first time they're voting, or, they're independents and they want to step in, or they're Republicans looking for a home. All of that we found. And, we had some Trump voters last night saying, look, I support the guy. I, voted for him twice, but we've got to win in November. And I don't think he can, we can't take the chance of him not beating Biden in November. So it's been really, really great. And, Chris and I have had a good time, but I also think it's because we both want the same things. We both want better for our country. We both see the fact that Americans are tired and they just want to know that government's working for them instead of them working for government. And we want our kids to have a better life. And so I think that, we both see that America has an amazing ability to self-correct, and we both want to be a part of that solution.
Ambassador Haley, you've been, I think, pretty careful with your remarks about Donald Trump, whether you're up on the debate stage, even in one of our interviews with you. You've been cautious in parsing your words. We all know that Governor Sununu has, and this is probably an understatement, hasn't been careful with his words in criticizing Donald Trump. Will the governor be playing sort of the role of bad cop to your good cop when the issue of Donald Trump comes up now out there on the campaign trail?
Yeah, it's interesting because, anti-Trumpers think I don't hate Trump enough, and pro-Trumpers think I don't love him enough. And, as much as everybody tries to calculate what I say and why I say it, I'm just putting the truth out there. This isn't personal for me. So, if we're talking about policy, if he's right, he's right. If he's wrong, he's wrong. I think he was the right president at the right time. I had a good working relationship with him. I agree with a lot of his policies. But I have said, and what really worries me is chaos follows him. Rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him. And we can't be a country in disarray and a world on fire and have 4 more years of chaos. And, when Chris called and gave me the endorsement, he's like, I'll say, do whatever we need to do to get you over the finish line. And I said, you be you. You do whatever you need to do because whatever you're doing is working. And that's what I want. I want people just to tell the truth. We don't have to sit there and play a certain part in this election. Wouldn't it be nice if we just had people telling the American people the truth? Because that's what they want and that's what they deserve from us.
Well, here's an example of that. Governor Sununu, the remark last week in an interview on Fox News, former President Trump said that he would be a dictator, but only for only for one day, just the first day. That had to make you shiver a little bit.
Yeah, it's stuff like that I think everyone's just kind of tired of, right? That this idea that, well, does the president really need to support the Constitution? I mean, he literally has folks arguing in court that maybe the president doesn't have to support. I mean, guys, we got to get beyond this, right? We got to get back to just having a president, having leadership in Washington simply do the job, not for themselves, not for their ego, not worrying about, as Nikki said, all the drama and the chaos that follows. We visit manufacturing facilities, and this one guy came up to me. He's pretty young, and he said, "Hey, Gov, inflation's crushing, right? Inflation is not 5%, it's not 10%." He said, "I can barely take my kid to McDonald's for under $35." So, we were talking about that issue. You need a president focusing on that 120%. That is not an easy fix, but it can be fixed, by the way. You need a president worrying about the Israeli conflict, the Ukrainian conflict, the southern border, 120% of your time. We need a president that is at the top of their top game. Not if President Trump were to be in there, even if he were to get in there, it's a complete distraction. Do we really think inflation is going to get solved when somebody's spending all their time? So as Nikki said, right or wrong, whether you agree with it or not, the fact of the matter is chaos is going to follow him with this legal stuff and all these distractions for years to come. It doesn't go away if he were to get elected. So if you want inflation fixed, if you care about results, and New Hampshire is always cared about accountability and results, then the opportunity not just to go in a different direction, but the future of conservative leadership, the next generation. I mean, that's just an amazing opportunity. It's a win-win-win. So that's really what it's about. It's not just about tearing the guy down because you like him or don't like him, whatever it is. It's about understanding that we have a great opportunity with great leadership in Nikki Haley to actually not just get elected. And by the way, I mean, I'll tout the poll numbers. Did you see the Wall Street Journal poll? Yeah, Donald Trump might beat Biden by 2 or 3 points. Nikki Haley beats him by 17 points. Nikki Haley over Biden by 17. That's a mandate. She talks about this all the time. That means that we get this stuff done. We carry Congress and the Senate seats. All those Senate seats we were supposed to have in 2022, remember 53 Senate seats? We got blown away with Trump as the standard bearer. So we want that red wave to come, and Nikki Haley can bring it.
And I wanted to ask you about that. And Ambassador Haley and the Governor Sununu was just talking about should be focusing on immigration, should be focusing on helping Ukraine and Israel and taking care of inflation, getting the economy into an even better place. But looking at what's been happening in the House of Representatives with Republicans in control right now, and they're being called, I think they're the second least effective House of Representatives in modern history, that they're concentrating on investigations of Hunter Biden and impeaching Joe Biden instead of trying to do something at the border, trying to help out Ukraine. If you're elected, Ambassador Haley, what message, and assuming maybe that the Republicans still hold the House, because that's going to be up for grabs in 2024 as well, what would you say to your party in reference to what the governor was just saying about getting the Republicans to focus more on what's most important to Americans?
Well, I think, first of all, we've got to look at the fact that if you look at what Congress should be doing, Congress is supposed to get, is supposed to do one thing, and that's to make sure they pay for government on time. And do you know that Congress has only given a budget on time 4 times in 40 years? It's absurd. If they don't give us a budget on time, they shouldn't get paid. And this is the reason people want term limits in America, is because we are tired of putting up with them peacocking on TV and not getting anything done. And when you look at the fact that right now they're having this debate, I mean, securing the border should be priority number one. And that's on the Democrats and Biden because they refuse to do that. But all of these other issues, like making sure Putin doesn't win in Ukraine and then go on to Poland and the Baltics, which will put us at war, they should be preventing war. They should be doing things that they need to do to get it done. And instead, they're talking about leaving for the holidays. You don't leave for the holidays until you've made sure this is done. And when you win by landslide, you don't have it where you're winning the House or the Senate by 1 seat or 2 seats. You have it to where you're winning those seats. But not only that, you're winning to say we're not going to be spending and borrowing the way y'all have. We're going to eliminate the earmarks. I'll veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels. We're going to set our education back on track so we go back to the basics and we get our kids reading again. We're going to close our border once and for all, no exceptions. And we're going to make sure that we have law and order again in our country and reduce the crime on our streets and make America strong and proud again. That's the importance of getting someone that the whole media is not spending talking about what they said that day, but talking about what they did that day. That's what we want to get to. It's getting America working again. And people are tired, and we've got to start doing that. Look, my approach is different from Trump. Mine is no drama, no vendettas, no whining. It's just results and getting things done. I did it as governor of South Carolina when I turned her into an economic powerhouse. I did it at the United Nations when I took the kick me sign off of our backs and America was respected again. And I'll do it again as president and spend every day proving to the people of America that they made the right decision.
Governor Haley, you have not yet committed to what would be considered a local debate, a WMUR ABC News debate here in New Hampshire just a day or two before the primary. Is that something you are going to do, though? You just haven't committed yet?
Yeah, right now we're focused on the debates that they're wanting us to do in Iowa, so it's one step at a time. I love debates. You know, I've done 4 already. I look forward to doing more, but we're just trying to make sure that at the end of the day, it's Trump we want on that stage, right? I mean, you can't come to a state and have an election and not get on the debate stage and fight for those votes. You just can't do it. That's the epitome of arrogance. And, you know, he can skip all these other debates in these other states. But you can't skip the debate in Iowa. You can't skip the debate in New Hampshire. And people will be offended if he doesn't show up. And so we just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to say, look, you want to fight for this, you got to get on the stage and do it.
Lastly, and I don't know if we were talking about playlists at the very beginning of the interview. The governor has actually kind of done a remake of Johnny Cash's I've Been Everywhere. And have you heard the governor and his number one hit here in New Hampshire?
I have heard it. It is fantastic. I couldn't believe it. I saw it yesterday, and Look, it's why he continues. It's why he's the coolest governor in the country, hands down. It's why he's the coolest governor in the country. It's so fun, and it's at the heart of what he does. I mean, he's a hardworking governor for the people of the Granite State, and they should be so proud. But I certainly am proud to be his friend.
We are helping host a Radio Row over at the DoubleTree in Manchester the day before and the day of the primary. We hope to see you both there, and maybe the governor can sport his new T-shirt saying "Coolest Governor in the country."
Well, second, I tell you, if I'm standing next to Nikki Haley, then I would be the coolest governor in the country. There's no doubt.
Good to have you both on the air. We know that you have a very busy morning. Again, appreciate you both being in Keene yesterday and joining us on WKBK's Good Morning program today. We'll let you both go. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Go to NikkiHaley.com. Thanks.
And we appreciate it. NikkiHaley.com.